Catherine, and I'm here today with a review for Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. So I just read this one, and currently, actually, as I'm filming this, I am in the middle of reading the third one in the trilogy, which has actually divulged now into a series, more so than a trilogy. There's a second trilogy being added onto this trilogy, and I just got the advanced reader from NetGalley, so I'm really excited for that. And I have some reading to catch up on before I can read it. But anyway, we're talking about Poison Study, which is the first book in the study series, and it is awesome. Full disclosure, I like the Healer series better. I fell in love with that series, and the series was just awesome. So this one didn't quite stand up to Maria V. Snyder's latest trilogy that she just finished coming out with. But that being said, this was one of her first ones, if not her first book, so it might be understandable in that way. This book, you have your main character, Yelena, which, by the way, I love that name. That's such an awesome name, Yelena. And she has been in prison for almost a full year for murdering someone. And, I mean, you don't know, but you totally know as a girl why she murdered this person. You know, you can just guess. But it's not actually revealed until later, the full extent of why she murdered this guy. But she's given the option. She can either swing from the noose or maybe even be beheaded. But anyway, she can die, or she can become the commander's poison tester. In this country where Yelena lives, it's under a military control. So there's the Grand Commander, who's like the head commander, and then each of the districts, so kind of like provinces, counties within the country, are divided into military districts. A little bit, kind of picture it a little bit like the way that Panem is set up in the Hunger Games, only without the Panemness of it. So she is, of course, in the keep for the head commander dude, and she takes the offer to become a poison taster, and then she has to learn how to taste poisons, and of course then becomes poisoned in order to learn what the poisons taste like. It's a little crazy, but I assume the only way you can learn how to distinguish certain poisons from others in food. But throughout the entire book, you're dealing with not only her figuring out how to do this whole poison taster thing, but also her learning to deal with life outside of the only life that she's known. You come to learn that she grew up in an orphanage, and then she was in a different military district, and then stuff went down, and she's dealing with that. So it was really interesting to kind of read about how she goes along. And of course, you know, it wouldn't be a Snyder book without a little bit of romance, which actually, when I was reading some of the reviews on Goodreads about, I can't remember if it was this book or if it was the second book, someone wrote a review that said that Maria V. Snyder's female characters, her main characters, always end up with men who are abusive to them in the beginning, and then they're not anymore once they're together, although sometimes they still are. And I thought that was really interesting, and it made me think, because it's true. Like, Yelena is abused by her poison teacher, Valak, who, of course, I mean, you can see this from the beginning, so it's not like I'm giving anything away, but they eventually become more than just teacher and student. And I thought it was funny, because then I'm thinking back, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's true in a lot of her books, that's initially how this relationship between the two romantic characters starts off, and then that's how it ends up. So I'd like to read her Glass series and see if this continues to be true. So I did this book. I read the physical copy. I actually had a Kindle copy as well, and I had an Audible copy. Now, the only reason I had a Kindle and an Audible is, as well as the physical copy, is because there was a better deal where I could get the audiobook on Audible for like $2 or something if I bought the Kindle copy of the book, and the Kindle copy of the book was only like $3. So it was $5 versus wasting a whole credit, which is, I mean, it's worth anything, but you pay $14 for it. So I decided to go that route, and I liked it because I found out, and it was awesome to me, that if you do that, and it's the Whisper Sync books, it actually will sync your Audible version and your Kindle version to the last time that you bookmarked it and then closed the app, which I thought, I mean, that just blew my mind. I was so happy with this. I spend so much time trying to like find, if I am alternating, to find where I left off each time on a different medium, and it was awesome. So I totally recommend it. I did the second book in the same way, except I didn't own the physical copy, so I needed the Kindle anyway. Total justification, I'm telling you. And then bought the physical copy. But this is definitely like one of my new favorite ways to read books, because it's awesome. One thing I loved about this book was the growth of the characters. So you get this first impression of pretty much every character, of course, that you are first introduced to. And then for the most part, they change and you learn new stuff about them, and their character develops into something more than just they initially were. Except for Marge. Marge was just a bitch, so she can go suck it. So there's romance, there's magic, there's poison, there's murder, there's intrigue, there's mystery, there's political aspirations, and the possibility of a war between two warring countries. Like, this book has a lot of everything for everybody in it, which is another reason why I really liked it. I would definitely suggest it to anyone. I would say it's just fantasy. It doesn't have things like unicorns or other creatures like that, but it does have a lot of magic, which of course then builds more as the second book is called Magic Study, people, so yeah, there's magic in it. I would definitely recommend this book to anyone who has read any other Maria V. Snyder books. I've read her Healers trilogy and the duology, the Inside Out and Outside In. Do they have an actual name? Like the in or out? Anyways, both of them are really great. And it really shows how amazing of a writer she is, that she is so versatile. She can do science fiction, she can do fantasy. I'm sure she did contemporary, she could rock it as well. But yeah, if you like all of the things that I have said before, so like murder and magic and mayhem and romance and mystery, it's definitely a book that you should look into. It is quite big. I mean, it clocks in at 409 pages of very tiny print. And I think the audiobook was between 9 and 12 hours long. It didn't seem to be that long to me because I just wanted to keep listening to it. But yeah, it's definitely the type of book that really pulls you in as a reader and makes you want to know what's going to happen next. And yeah, it's really great world building too, because as you get further in the book, more and more is discovered to you as a reader, and it really just makes everything more three-dimensional and completely plausible. So yeah. Let me know if you've read this one already. I would love to be able to discuss it with people and see what you did and didn't like. Let me know if you agree with what I said, if you liked it or didn't like it. I won't take offense, I promise. If you're like, oh, this was a piece of shit, I think it's stupid, that's your opinion, dude. It's totally cool. So until next time, happy reading, everyone, and try to stay warm if you're like me and stuck in like a couple feet of snow. Or so it seems. Actually, I haven't set foot outside today, and I'm kind of dreading doing it tomorrow. So I just hope I don't have to shovel out my car before I go to work at 8 in the morning. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun day. So until next time, see you then. Bye.